over here. Okay. Good morning. My name is Tasha Smith. I'm the founder of Emerge Sales Training, and let's make sure everyone's in the right place. This is the 5 keys to make the sales process enjoyable. This is for network marketers who want to enroll 5 to 10 new customers a month consistently. Yes, in the right place, and start 1 to 2 new builders each month successfully, and be able to do it without being tied to the phone or feeling like a pest. Are we all in the right place today? Okay, yeah, that would be amazing. Okay, awesome. If you are in a place to turn your cameras on, that would be awesome. I'm sure you've all been in situations where you're speaking in a Zoom room, and it's a lot easier to go ahead and actually see the faces. This is an interactive live webinar. I know we were kind of joking in the beginning that some of you didn't realize it was actually live, like real live. And so what I'm going to ask you guys to do is interact with me today. Is that fair? So I'm going to do most of it. We're going to do most of it in the chat. So if you're cool with participating in the chat today, go ahead and put in the chat, yes, I'm in, or just some sort of acknowledgement that you're good with participating in the chat. Cool. You can say rad, awesome. Yep. You're in. Okay, awesome. Here's the agenda for today. We're going to have an honest conversation about what is hard about closing sales. For those of you that are new to what we would call the Emergosphere, I'm going to just let you know a little bit about my background. I think it's really hard to listen to trainers or coaches if you're not aligned philosophically. Would you guys agree with that? And so I'm going to share with you a little bit of the philosophies just to make sure that they align. And then we're going to jump into the 5 keys that makes the sales process easier, more effective, and enjoyable. I cannot teach you everything about sales in a 45-minute to an hour segment, but we are going to treat you today as if you're clients. Have you guys ever been on a webinar or training? Well, first of all, they say it's live. It's not really live. It's a recording. That's annoying. And then the other thing they do is they promise you all the secrets, and they literally give you nothing. Unless and then they're like, but if you really want the secrets here, $10,000, please. Have you guys been in that situation? Super frustrating, waste of time. I don't like it. I think you don't like it. And so what we're going to do today is I'm going to treat you the way we treat clients, as if this were a paid training and coaching. But we only have an hour together today. So at the end, I'm going to go over our signature mastermind. That's called the Customer First Sales Mastermind. It's an 8-week mastermind where we go over time management, the sales conversation, recruiting conversation, retention conversations, and mentoring new builders. Does that sound fair? I'll show you how that works. I will also stay extra if you guys have a few questions. Sound good? All right, so let's go ahead and open up Pandora's box. What is hard when it comes to, for you guys, when it comes to closing sales? And we're just going to need one brave soul to go first to break the ice. Karen says, actually just asking for the sale. Who can relate to that? Just like, what are the words? Lynn, yes. Mona, yeah. Kimberly, asking for the sale, feeling pushy. Okay, 2 votes for feeling pushy. How many more votes for feeling pushy? About like 5 or 6 more. Okay. Prices. Can you guys tell me a little bit more about what's hard about the prices? Okay, so Sandia says word choice. Word choice and the scripts. Like, Sandia, do you just mean like exactly what to say? Is that right? Okay, so do you guys feel like you could talk about your product all day, like, this is the best thing ever, and it's going to save your life, basically. And then you get to the end and it's like, dun, 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 and then you like melt, basically. Is that, yeah? Okay, we got some smiles. That makes sense. Okay, so cost of product, preferred customer, okay. Price is mentioned, convo over. Product is worth it, but maybe sticker shock, okay. Some people don't want to pay. Yeah, I would argue just that people that don't want to pay for quality aren't great network marketing product customers, right? So we can talk about that a little bit after, and how to deal with that. Okay, so here's what I wrote down. Words, don't want to feel pushy. Being nervous about the price conversation. Is that an accurate way to say it? Okay. And then words again. And is there anything that I missed? Go ahead, Christy. You want to pop it in the chat? Okay, so Jessica says, for me, closing and getting someone to take action. And no business builders yet. Correctly identifying who's the customer to pitch. All right. Do you guys feel better just knowing you're not the only one that feels that way? Who already feels a little bit better? Yeah, okay. All right, good. So I'm curious, as we get in, I'll tell you a little bit about some of our coaching philosophies that will help with a lot of this. Would you humor me in the chat? Will you let me know if you are new to or my world, me and Karen, our world that we built? Let me know if you're new or if you've already done a mastermind. Kimberly knows the drill. Merge superfan, new, not new, new. Andrea is expanding customer base. Newbie, new, not new, not new, new. Okay. All right. So let me give you a little bit of background. I have to start off with one disclaimer, and that is that I am not an active network marketer right now, but please do not leave. I have one redeeming quality. I love your products. I buy them all. So here's how we got here. When I was 20 years old, I started selling Cutco knives. How many of you guys have heard of Cutco knives? Okay, so I was that kid in college selling knives. And I did that up until I was 25, I think. So I spent my entire early 20s selling knives. Well, and then I got promoted to be a leader. So I spent my early 20s selling knives and teaching people, teaching 18-year-old kids how to sell $1,000 sets of knives to housewives when their husbands were at home. And then get, 10, 15, 20 referrals and repeat that and use that money to pay for college. I personally sold over $140,000 worth of Cutco. That would be the equivalent of about 500 new customers. My offices did 1.4 million in sales. We didn't count this way, but my best guess was over 1,000 direct sales reps were recruited during that time period. I didn't need to count that until through 2015, and obviously those records are gone from the 2000s. But this was back in the 2000s, which means that network marketing direct sales wasn't cool like it is today. I took all of my experience and took it to corporate America and did well there. So I went into corporate America. I was a new hire trainer, sales manager, and a recruiting manager. And I was there for, I guess, 11 years, 10 years at the time that this story gets started. I was 35 years old. So this was back in 2015. My kids were 3 and 5. And I found myself in corporate America as a sales manager, salary capped, and driving an hour and 15 minutes each way to work. Does that sound like good to go for the next 30 years? No. And so I was looking around at what kinds of things would I want to do. So I started looking at jobs, and anything that was in the space that I was in was going to require lots of travel. I didn't like that very much because my kids were young. And so I thought, okay, well, I only know how to do really one thing, and that's teach non-salespeople how to sell stuff. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to start my own sales training company. And I put up a podcast and I was tinkering on my lunch breaks. And then I ran into my friend Catherine at the dojo where our kids do karate. And she walked up to me. I'd met her maybe twice before. She closed her eyes, handed me a card and said, will you come to my thing? Basically. She invited me to her network marketing event. I snarkily responded, I will come to your network marketing event if you listen to my podcast. How many of you guys would agree to that deal? I'll listen to 3 podcast episodes if you'll come to my thing. Sure. And so we made the deal. Well, the joke was on her, I guess. And so she sent me a text later that day, I think I want to hire you. And I was like, ooh, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I went to her presentation, took some notes, and we were going to sort of work together Monday evenings, right? Because I was still working my corporate job. Well, we ended up fixing her sales conversation. Catherine was a major introvert. She was a previous coder, just to give you an idea. And she had been making $50 a month for 2 years straight. But she's smart. And so we fixed her sales conversation and she made $450 the next month. And so then her upline said, what just happened to my check? So I got a call from her upline. I coached her over Christmas break. She made 12 new customers that January, which was more than the previous year. So obviously that's a good time to leave my job, right? So I left my corporate job and Kim's upline hired me, and then that person's upline hired me, and they had a pretty big team. And so that fall we took 35 of their people through our mastermind. I'll tell you about at the end. They went from 400 new customers in 1 month to 800 the next. Then that person's upline hired me, and then that company's kit started selling out. And that was pretty fun. And we have been very, very busy ever since. To date, we have coached over 6,000 network marketers, marketing trainers, or clients. I coached 2 company owners, 2 master distributors, and really everyone from people that are just brand new getting started to $1 million earners. Our mission is to give hope, confidence, and skills to network marketers of all levels. Now, a lot of people will ask us, so the average person that goes through our mastermind, and when we track their results, they triple their new customers from the 2 months before to the 2 months after. And so a lot of people will say, well, what's the deal with that? Why does that work so well? And here's what I think it is. I am not your upline saying, do it based on how I did it, based on my abilities, my experience, and my network. I am your customer who is begging you, for the love of God, could we please make it easier to buy something? How many of you believe in the life-changing properties of your product? Raise your hand. Okay. Then I will argue that you have a moral and an ethical obligation to learn how to sell well. Because if you don't know how to sell well, me as your customer, I'm the one who's in trouble, right? If we have an interaction and you don't know how to sell well, and so I leave with, I don't know, can I take a brochure, rub it on my stomach, and get rid of my gut issues? Now, so the information is not going to help me. What do I actually need? I actually need the stuff, and I need it on my counter, ready to go. So that when I run into an issue, I can go over there and I can grab the stuff, or I can be proactive about it, right? And so I'm going to argue that you have a moral and ethical obligation to sell, but let's be honest. How many of you have said, I'm not a salesperson? Nope, not a salesperson. Come on, admit it. All right, not a salesperson. So you're like, I'm not a salesperson. I will not go to sales training because I'm not a salesperson. So I'm going to go over here to mindset training, and you need the mindset training to deal with all the rejection, because guess what? You never learned to sell. And so what did they teach? What do they teach you in mindset training? Tell you, if you go to mindset training and you don't go to sales training, then all you're left with is what? Technique. Tell your story and follow up, right? Because we don't want to be high pressure and pushy. What do we think about when we think of salespeople? Car sales, high pressure, pushy, right? So we don't want to do that. So we go to mindset training, we tell our stories, we follow up. Here's the catch though. Can you think of anything more high pressure and pushy than talking about yourself and following up until someone buys or dies? Oops. We ended up becoming the exact thing that we're trying not to be. But have you ever worked with a high quality salesperson? How does that feel? Let me know in the chat. How does that feel to work with a high quality salesperson? Amazing, satisfied, high quality. Pretty good. Heard, understood. They make you feel special, easy, fun, productive, valued, comfortable, safe. Right? And what I would argue is, what's the difference between that used car salesman type that we think about, pushy, pressure, right, and the high quality salesperson? And I will argue it is that they went to sales training, right? I think a lot of people have a misperception of what sales training is. Have you guys ever heard, I think a lot of people think it's like overcoming objections. Have you guys heard that term? And it's like, oh, somebody doesn't want to buy, just, you know, a Frappuccino, it's only a Frappuccino a day. And I'm like, I would never want to say that. Would you guys want to say that or hear that? Like, that's so much, we're just like, how about, if you don't want to buy, how about I just heap some shame on you and make you feel really bad? And then maybe, like, that's terrible. I would never want to say that. And then a lot of the other sales training is like, follow up, follow up, follow up. How many times do they say to follow up? Show me with your hands. 5, 7, 5, 10. Oh, Lynn's like infinity. Yeah, till they buy or die. So this is what this sounds like. How about now? 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 Now it does work, right? Have you guys all followed up with someone for 6 months and then they got something? Yeah. And you're like, yes, I got a live one. Want to do the business? And they're like, hold up. You want me to give away a bunch of free product, follow up with someone for 6 months, and then I'll make 30 bucks. Sounds great. Sign me up. Does anyone say that? How many of you think you have a recruiting problem? Yeah. What if you have a sales problem? Because who wants to do that? Do you want to do that? You don't even want to do that. And you are literally on a training for closing sales. Right? We have to make it easier to buy and more enjoyable. And so I think we need to start by changing the definition of the word closing. Right? Closing is not something we do to someone, something we do for someone. That's Zig Ziglar, who sold Cutco, by the way, when he was young. I looked it up in the dictionary once. What is the definition of closing? I think a lot of people have a lot of words about business and sales that like don't mean anything, like salesy. Did you know that's not even a word? Close it. It's not actually a word. Closing. I love this definition. One of the dictionary definitions is to unite. Closing is to unite. I think that closing is something you do for someone, right? So it's like helping them to take a step they already want to take. And what our job is to build the value right? So the value, right? Communicate in such a way that we're building the value so it exceeds the cost. Because all a sale is, right? I think our culture has a lot of junk that they add to this, but all a sale is an exchange of a product or service for dollars. A sale is made when someone believes that the problem that they have and the solution for that problem is worth more than the money in their pocket. That's it. And I think it's really helpful to simplify what sales is, right? Sales is something that we do, right? If you make a sale, now I have the stuff in my house so that I can do things. And so here's our philosophy. And so make sure you write this down. This is our training philosophy. Our customer comes first. Our team comes second. And our ego comes third. Customer first, team second, ego third. If we design our business so that it's enjoyable for customers, they like the sales process, they buy, use their product to get results, will our team be happy? Yeah, they'll feel good about what they do. And if they feel good about what they do, will they do more work and get more results? And then what will happen to our ego?
Excuse me, could you repeat that for me? Customer comes first.
Customer first, team second, ego third.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if our customers are happy, then our team is happy, then our ego is happy. Right? Who's on board with that philosophy? Okay, cool. So are you up for the 5 keys that are going to make this all work? How do you guys feel so far? What's up? You guys feel better already? All right, let's get in. You guys
feel like I'm in the right place.
Oh, I love that, Arthur. Not just because of all the beautiful ladies though, right?
I'm not even seeing you guys.
All right, so let's get into the 5 keys. I'm going to give you some specific wording that you can customize for your particular company. And I'm going to use some health and wellness examples. And I'm only going to teach you words that you could say to your sister or your mom or your neighbor and still be friends with them later. All right, cool. Here we go. Let me just get this up and going. Since I'm streaming on 2 things, I can't go full screen on the slides. Can I get your grace with that? Will you give me a thumbs up if it's okay? It looks like this with the thing on the outside. Okay, because it'll shut off my live stream, and we're just trying to get the good word out to people. All right, so key number 1 is set up an appointment. So let's say you go to the park and you're wearing your company hat, your company backpack, your company keychain. What luck? Someone says, "What's that?" And then how do we respond? Be honest. Let's see, I can't see everyone's faces. How do we respond? Seeing some smirks, some giggles. Is it sort of like, okay, there were deer in headlights, word vomit. Explain what we do. Word vomit. Can anyone relate to that? Gets so excited. It's like, let me tell you about my amazing product. And then what happens to their face? Yep, Luann's seen it, right? It just kind of glazes over. And then what happens? So we start talking, they glaze over, and then what do you do next? Go ahead.
They inch away or you keep talking.
Yeah. So you're like, I'm losing them. Who talks faster? Okay. And then who just completely clams up? Right. There's 2 things. Either way, does that customer end up getting a kit? And so who misses out? They do. Right. And so we have to think about a different way. Now, I want you to imagine right now that you are at like your cousin's wedding. And your network marketing business is growing so fast that now you need to hire a virtual assistant. Now that's an exciting prospect, right? But maybe you don't know anything about how to write a contract and that freaks you out. So you're kind of stuck in a bit of analysis paralysis. You're not sure what to do. You know you need to move forward, but you can't, right? You end up going to this wedding, and what luck? You end up seated next to a contracts lawyer. Cool, right? Now, does this contracts lawyer tell you everything about contracts at the wedding? Why not? Inappropriate, too much info, too complicated. Yep. I mean, that's basically it, right? Would you be able to retain, not the right setting, wrong place? Would you be able to retain any of that? So what would end up happening? You'd end up telling them everything right then and there. And then, or they would tell you, and then you would go, okay, let me think about it. And it would actually feel harder than it was before. But the contracts lawyer never does that. What does a contracts lawyer do?
Sets up an appointment.
Right.
Sets up an appointment. And who does that benefit?
Both parties.
Everyone, right? It benefits you, right? It's the easiest way for you to consume the information, make a decision. And because it benefits you, remember the philosophy, who does it benefit then? The contracts lawyer now has a thriving process. So what we want to do is we want to set up an appointment. So before I pull up the words, I just want you to receive this for a second. Right? What if instead of vomiting on them or clamming up, we said something like this? Usually what I do is set up an appointment. I'm going to assume health and wellness just for the sake of this. I know a lot of you guys are on there. Usually what I do is set up an appointment. We'll go over your health goals, a little bit about the company and the most popular kits. My part will take about 30 minutes. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, I'll help you order it. Is that something you'd be open to? How does that feel? How do you think potential customers would respond to that? Calming, natural, disarming, non-threatening, good, with a yes, positively. Why do you think people respond positively to that? And I'll put up the words, don't worry. I know you want them.
Because they've leveled the play field.
Level the playing field, right? We're telling them all the things, right? Can we be honest about one of the reasons people dislike network marketers? Is that okay to do? Can I be real with you guys today? I'm going to call it the switcheroo. Have you guys ever been involved in a switcheroo, hopefully on the receiving end, not the giving end, where it's like, hey, let's have coffee. JK, here's this video, right? And so like there's this mystery behind what's going to happen, right? You think you might be there all day. You don't, like, there's no clue they don't know what's going to happen. And so what we want to do is we just want to tell them exactly what's going to happen. So let's go ahead and walk through these words. Usually what I do is set up an appointment to go over your blank goals, whatever your industry is, a little about the company, and the most popular kits. My part takes about 30 minutes. Okay, so we're going to give them an agenda, and you guys can take a screenshot of this if that's helpful. My part takes about 30 minutes, so we're going to let them know about how long it's going to take. Now, just tell them whatever's true. So if your part's going to take 45 minutes, tell them that. If it's 60 minutes, tell them that. We're going to remove the pressure. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. Is that something we're going to open to? We're going to do something that very few network marketers do. We're going to gain consent. One of my clients, previous clients, Jackie, and this was a while ago, but it always stuck with me. She told me, she actually counted one day. She had been blind added without consent to over 325 LuLaRoe groups. How do you think that made her feel? You can pop it in the chat. How do you think it made her feel to be blind added to over 300 groups? Gross, violated, ticked off. Do you think she ran right out and went and bought a bunch of stuff? No, probably not. And the reason is consent. And so what we want to do is we want to say, usually what I do is go over this. We give them the agenda, so I know exactly what to expect. How long? We remove pressure. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, I'll help you order it. And then we're going to ask consent. Is that something you would be open to? And they can respond one or two ways, right? They can respond with, yeah, I'm open to that. And if they say, no, I'm not open to that, isn't that okay? You guys are okay with that, right? If they're not open to that, then we can just respond with, no problem. If you change your mind, you know where to find me. Because what this allows, can you guys imagine saying this to your sister, neighbor, friend, someone in your sphere? And if they said, yes, that sounds good, that would be comfortable. Well, also, if they were like, I'm not that interested, that you could respond with, no thanks, or no problem, you know where to find me. If you change your mind, let me know. And you could still be friends. I think one of the things that's really hard with the it's not a no, it's a not yet philosophy is it's very difficult relationally. Would you guys agree with that? Where you don't know if you're supposed to go to the soccer game and follow up, or you're just supposed to go to the soccer game and just say hi. And so what this allows you to do is be a little bit more direct without being pushy. And if they say yes, we can set up an appointment. We don't have to just go around and follow them at social events. And if they say no thanks, then, well, then we can just move on and talk to someone else. How does that feel to everyone? Does that feel good? Can you imagine yourself maybe setting up 2 appointments like that a week? Our clients average 50 to 80% closing percentage. That's the percentage of people that buy on the first appointment. So if you were to set up 2 of those a week, that would be 5 new customers a month. If you set up 4, that would be 10. And you can use this to invite to group events too. You just change the agenda. You can use this to invite to recruiting conversations too. Just change the agenda. Do you guys see how this would work? The added benefit is, could you see a new person saying that too? Yeah, so you have a duplication away, right? It's a lot easier for them to invite to events or one-on-ones. All right, good with number 1? Okay, so number 1 is about getting into what we would call sales conversation. The next 4 are actually in the sales conversation. So we want to make sure this conversation is good and it's enjoyable. So we're gonna move a little faster through there. There's a little bit of background noise, Karen. Can you find that? We'll go to tip number 2. Number 2 is give an agenda. Like we said earlier, so this is the first 30 seconds of your sales conversation. Like we said earlier, we're going to go over your blank goals, health goals, let's say, for health and wellness, a little bit about the company and the most popular kits. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it today. How does that sound? How does that feel to everyone? Good? All right. Now, it is the same thing we said when we set up the appointment. Why is that important? You guys can put your thoughts in the chat. Validation builds trust, consistency, reassurance. Remember that whole switcheroo situation? Friends, leadership starts from the very get-go. And what people are looking for in a leader is going to be trust, compassion, stability, and hope. And so we have to, right? We have to make sure that when we set up the appointment, that the agenda is the exact same thing we said. Now, let me walk through. It builds trust, gives people feelings of control. Just like we said earlier, we're going to go over the agenda. We're going to remove pressure. Now, I did add one more thing in here, and I just want to explain it. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it today. And I see a few of you guys are nodding your heads. Guess what? Your customer is going to nod their head too. So here's what that means. In the first 30 seconds of your conversation, your customer has just agreed to keep an eye out for things that they like, and they're going to order it that day. Is that a pretty good place for everyone to be in the first 30 seconds? Yeah. How does that sound? Now, sometimes people will give me a bit of criticism for that. You don't have to get anything line, because they say, well, you're teaching people to be not confident. And that's not true. If all you do is say, you don't have to get anything, how does that sound? That's bad. You have to do both. You have to acknowledge what is awkward about the situation. They're worried you're going to pressure them. You know you're not. So it's simply acknowledging the elephant in the room and making sure they understand they have the power. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it today. How does that sound? And they go, that sounds good, right? And then you don't have pressure and they don't have pressure. And it also makes the transition to the offer to buy way easier because they're expecting it. Everyone's expecting it. How does tip number 2 sound? Give me a thumbs up. You guys are good? See, sales training isn't so bad, is it? All right, let's go to number 3. Number 3 is gain input. All right, let's talk about this a little bit. I'm gonna be controversial here, a little edgy. Do customers spend $200 on a kit solely because of your story? Whose story do they buy because of? Theirs. But what do we start with? And what happens to their face? Now, I do want to clarify. I'm not saying your story is not important. Your story is important. All I'm going to do is argue theirs goes first. Fair? So now your story really connects right when it's the same as their story. So do you see how it's still their story that's moving them into action? So let's go over right after the agenda. We're going to gain input, and I'm going to show you how this works. So, right, we're back here. Just like we said earlier, we're going to go over this, that, the other thing. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something like, of course, I'll help you order today. How's that sound? Nod their head. Right? What do you want to go over today? Because we've told them what we want to go over, right? They're the most important topic of the conversation, right? So we're going to ask them, what do they want to go over today? We'll make a list. And I want to personalize this information for you. So tell me about your health goals for that example for you and your family. What else? What else? What else? And then we'll ask, what do you already know about? And this will be where your company name is. It's a little bit easier if I just do a role model for you guys. Can I get a volunteer? Someone I don't know.
Yes, I'll do it. Jessica.
I'll do it, Jessica. Okay, Jessica, what type of products do you have for your business?
Health and wealth products.
Well, what's the actual product? Like, is it supplements? Is it?
Yes, it has 3 sides. So it's supplements. Then we have the wealth side, which is like life insurance and helping people with retirement. And then this August, we're launching a crypto coin as well.
Okay, so I'm going to stay in the supplement space for right now.
Okay.
Sound good? So this will be a sales conversation for supplements. Okay.
Okay.
So Jessica, all I want you to do is I just want you to be the potential customer
Okay.
before you knew about the supplements.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just going to do a quick role model for a couple minutes here. Okay, so Jessica, like I said earlier, what we're going to do is we're going to go over your health goals, a little bit about the company, and the most popular kits. My part will take about 30 to 45 minutes. Like I mentioned, you don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it today. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, great. What do you want to make sure we go over today?
Well, I definitely want to know about the health products because I have a severe problem with thinning hair and other health concerns. So if you have a health product, that would probably be the best thing for me to know about.
Okay, great. Oh, well, not great, but I understand. So you actually kind of beat me to my next question. I want to personalize this conversation for you. So tell me more about the health goals that you have for you and your family.
All right. So for me, I have thinning hair and I'm really hoping that I can find something that will help with that. I have had muscle loss also um, from losing too much weight too fast because I've had stuff happen the last couple months that was kind of hard. And then my family, like, I mean, my stepmom wants to lose weight. You know, my dad wants to have healthier skin. So,
Okay. So stepmom, what else?
I don't know. Now I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, no problem. So here's what I wrote down. Thinning hair, muscle loss, lose weight, skin. Is there anything that I missed?
No.
Okay, great. Now what do you already know about Blink Company?
Just that it's network marketing and it's pretty much all I know, really.
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the company. And end scene. Jessica, great job.
Thank you.
So how did that feel to everyone? I mean, I know it's a role play, but how did it feel? Good. Was it high pressure, pushy? Pretty good, pretty natural. It was easy, supportive, not pushy. Now there's a couple things I did not do. Did you notice how I did not say, oh, I have muscle loss too, and we have something for that? That would be high pressure and pushy. Right? Now there was one awkward point, and that's when I said, what else? She was like, did you guys feel the tension a bit? Do you know why it's tense? No one ever does it. When was the last time your spouse, your best friend, right? They said, how's your day? And you tell them, and they go, oh, that's fascinating. What else? Tell me more. Does that ever happen? Luann's like, yes, good. Good for you, Luann. Most people are like, no, that never happens. But what message does it send when we do it? Tell me more, or what else? What message does it send?
You really care and you want to know.
That's right. How many of you got into this business because you care about people? Raise your hand. Okay, this is the part where you prove it. It's not enough to say you care about people and then talk over them, interrupt, and give unsolicited advice. Right? The way we care about people is to listen and ask, tell me more. One of my favorite quotes is by Teddy Roosevelt. You'll know the end of this one. We'll see if we can finish fill in the blank. People don't care how much you know until They know how much you care. And this is how we prove it, by listening well and caring about their family more than our own ego. Good? Gaining input? All right. Because the number one most important topic of the conversation is not your products. They're not the star. Sorry. Who's the star? They are. All right, let's keep rolling. Key number 4 is personalized features and benefits. Who here loves the science of their products? Oh yeah, so cool. What happens when we start doing that? Talking about that. What happens to their face? Okay, can we just agree that we don't want to say things that make them have a glazed over face and start backing away? What we want to do is personalize the features and benefits. Now, personalize and customize are two different things. So we're going to explain every product that is in your main most popular kit, but we're going to either link it back or we're going to give scenarios. So before I show you the language, I just want you to write in your notes, scenarios versus facts. Okay, scenarios versus facts. Okay, so we might do something like, so let's say you have a kit, it's like 5 to 10 products or 5 to 15 products, doesn't matter. I'll go through and I'll say the next product in your kit is blah, blah, blah. Earlier you mentioned thinning hair. This is what you would use for that. How does that sound? And then do you feel yourself kind of nodding your head? Well, like, oh, that sounds good. As soon as they say good, we can move on to the next one. As soon as they find a scenario they can use your products in, it builds value for them. Because what we want to do is we want to show them, here's when you're going to use them, not here are the facts behind the product. You can have a super cool product, but if I don't know when I'm going to use it, it's really hard for me to envision myself using it. And why would I buy something I would never use? Right? So we can link back to what they said earlier. Earlier, you mentioned muscle loss. Earlier, you mentioned weight loss. Earlier, you mentioned skin. This is what you would use for that, right? But they're not going to give you all the different goals for all the different products. So we're going to come up with some common scenarios in which you'd use the products. So how about something like this? Have you ever been rushing out in the morning and you have not had time to make breakfast? Who's experienced that? You've not had time to make breakfast and then you're cranky. Right, this protein shake, this is what you would use for that. How does that feel? And like, oh, I understand. You see how you're linking those scenarios. Another one is you might not use this every day. So, this is a digestive enzyme. You may not use this every day, but you're glad you have it when you go on date night and you eat half a pizza. There you go. Right? How does that feel to everyone? Good. So we go through each, right? Personalize the features and benefits so they can see themselves using the products. Right? We'll do that for each product in your most popular kit. And so that way they're like, oh, I will use all of these. All right. So next, last key number 5, offer simple choices. Here's a big mistake that people will make. And it goes something like this. Okay, so that's the thing. What do you want to do? And it's really vague. And we think we're saying this because we don't want to be high pressure and pushy, but doesn't that feel confusing from your end? Right? What we want to do instead is we want to offer 2 choices. And we already know this. Anyone ever tried to feed a toddler? Raise your hand if you've tried to feed a toddler before. Okay. Are we like, Here's the fridge. What do you want? No, what do we do? Carrots or cucumbers? Because we know that when we give people two choices, it makes it easier for them to pick one. And then they pick one that is like basically a win-win scenario for you and them, right? Now, you will still have a toddler every once in a while that just screams cookies. It doesn't work every time, does it? But it does work more often than it doesn't. And that's all we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is make more sales than no sales. That's it. Right? Is every single person you have a sales conversation with going to buy? No. Right? But if we can get to over half, we're going to enjoy our business a lot more, and they're going to enjoy us and our business a lot more. It's the same thing. I used to work at Blockbuster Video. Do you guys remember Blockbuster Video? And each week there would be like 2 or 3 new releases. And then you would have the people that would come in and they would walk through what we would call the library, right? The new releases were on the outside and the library was in the middle, and it was every old movie that existed. The new release people would come in, look at the board. Do you guys remember this? Look at the board. Go, that one, right? There would be 3 sections on the wall. They'd go grab one, or they'd come over to us and say, can you go check the bin outside? I want that movie. And they would leave within 15 minutes with their movie, right? You guys have experienced that? Then there were the library people. They had a coupon. And they would walk through the middle section. Who's this person? For hours. They could have watched an entire movie in the time it took them to choose a movie. How many of you guys experience this with Netflix? Have you ever spent more time looking through Netflix for the perfect thing to watch than watching it? And then you're just like, forget it, I'll just watch Friends again. Right? This is called decision fatigue. When a human has too many choices, they shut down, they can't decide, and they have to, wait for it, think about it. Who's creating the think about it objection? Their incredible thoughtfulness or you with too many choices? Now remember, we're just going for half, right? There will be some people who will need to think about it. We're going to honor that. But the easiest thing to do, right, is to simply offer 2 choices from the get-go to make it easier for them. So let me show you the language behind this one. Let me show you our 2 most popular kits. This kit comes with blah, 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 and it is $250. This kit comes with this and this and this, and it is $150. I'll pull this back in a sec. If you're getting one of these, which do you think is a better fit for your family? That's called a trial close. If you were getting these, which one would you think is a better fit? They say the bigger one. Say, okay, great. Would you like me to place this order for you today? And that's it. It's just a direct question. Why do we need to ask a direct question?
Asking permission.
You're asking permission. If we don't ask the direct question, we convey a lack of confidence, belief, and enthusiasm, which then becomes contagious. So if we're like, here are the 2 kits, let me know. They're not going to like force you to put their order in. That's weird and awkward. So we just have to ask the direct question. Would you like me to place this order for you today? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you. Do you want to order this today? We have to ask the direct question. Now, if they say yes, we place the order. Hooray. If they say no, we're just going to give them 2 other options. Okay, so let me back this up so you guys can take a screenshot. Let me show you our two most popular kits. The blank kit comes with such and such. It's this much, right? The other kit comes with this, it's this much. If you were getting one of these, which do you think is a better fit for your family? Okay, so those are the 5 keys. These 5 keys apply to everything. New appointments, which is what we've covered, customer retention appointments, recruiting appointments, coaching, and mentoring appointments. Here they are. Number 1, set an appointment. Number 2, give an agenda. Number 3, gain input. Number 4, personalize your features and benefits. And number 5, offer simple choices.